Hello and welcome to Life in Balance. I'm Casey Jean and I'm here with Promise Resource Network. Today we're looking at creating and maintaining, perhaps the most important part, maintaining a self-care routine. Why? Why are we doing this? Well, it's a hot topic in that you guys ask me about it a lot. I hear it often that you don't know how to create a self-care routine, or perhaps more, it's you want to create a self-care routine and you're kind of struggling. And the struggle is also maintaining it. Maybe you start it and it's a thing that lasts maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month, and then you're back into your old ways of being. So that is why, because it's relevant. So to begin, let's check in with one another. Hi. How are you feeling today? Take a moment to check in with yourself. If you're seated, you might put your feet firm on the ground, your feet flat on the ground. You can close your eyes, no need to look at the screen for a moment. Go within, noticing yourself rather than the external world you live in. See if you can soften your shoulders. And ask yourself, how am I feeling? You might internally say it, maybe it's even external. How am I feeling today? When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Use just one word to describe how you're feeling, whether it's physical, mental, and drop it into the comment section of this video. No judgment. It's really to build awareness, self-awareness. It's a great practice to do something along these lines, to check in and notice how you're feeling before you do something and after you do something. With anything, whether it's going to work, having a conversation with a friend, a loved one, or maybe someone that gives you a bit of challenge, because then it informs you. That's really the root of mindfulness, I'll say. And what we're doing here is creating awareness of yourself. So, before we start class, the things that you'll need are a notebook or just paper, something to write with, and then a few things of comfort. So maybe a nourishing beverage. I have some herbal tea with me. Maybe you get chilly, and so you grab a hoodie or a blanket or just anything that would be comfortable for you. Take your time. If you need to hit pause to grab some things, do that and then come on back. The last piece of housekeeping before we start our session today is imagine that this is really a virtual classroom. And so in a classroom, there's dialogue, there's back and forth, there's interaction. Since we're not in a physical classroom, the way that we will interact is through the comment section. So share any questions, thoughts, aha moments, ideas, suggestions, all of that. Share that in the comment section. And if you see someone else also commenting, then you guys can chat back and forth as well. The second piece is to simply take care of yourself. So if you need to get up and go to the restroom, or you need even something to eat or drink, hit pause and come on back. Take care of you. All right. Today's lesson: creating and maintaining a self-care routine or practice. Self-care is simply, one, we can say that it's a buzzword, right? We hear that a lot. I am sure that you do. I know that I do. Self-care, simply put, is how we take care of ourselves. We can think of ourselves as caregivers for ourselves. And so it's of the utmost importance because we are the ones that live in this body, in this mind. We know what we need. Even in the times that we don't feel like we do, we can continue to dig a little deeper and to do the work to find out what it is that we need. So I've heard it all. These are the top 3 obstacles, challenges that I hear often with the struggle of creating and maintaining a self-care routine. So carving out the time for me. 2, I put everything and everyone else first. And 3rd, making excuses. I make excuses about not having the time. I wonder if any of these in particular resonate with you. And if so, drop that appropriate number below. So if carving out the time for me resonates with you, drop a 1. If you put everything and everyone else first, put a 2 in the comments. And if you make excuses about, quote, not having the time, put a 3. Again, this is not about judgment or shame or guilt. It's to really just get clear with yourself. What's getting in your way of creating this, of doing this? It might not be one of these things. We're going to take a moment now to reflect, give you time to reflect by yourself. So I'll put a minute on the clock and be silent so that you can reflect on what keeps you specifically from a regular self-care routine. So take this time to reflect on anything that may get in your way, why you may or may not maintain a regular self-care routine. Think of the obstacles, challenges, all of that. Come from a place of curiosity rather than judgment. If you don't know, you could simply write, I don't know, a few times until something perhaps starts to bubble up. I've got the timer going. Go ahead. All right, that's time. If you're writing, slowly wrap that sentence or sentences up. I'm curious to know what came up for you, what's getting in your way, what challenges and obstacles are you facing. Of course, you don't have to share, but if you'd like to, share a little bit in the comments about what's personally getting you stuck or in the way of you maintaining a self-care practice, creating and maintaining. The more you interact, the more simply interactive this will be, the more you'll get from it and take away at the end of this session. And I'll be reading the comments and checking in with you too. So how can you change this, right? And what we're looking at changing is simply not having a self-care routine regularly or one that's ongoing. And here's a little outline. We'll dive deeper into each of one, but one is honesty, knowing your why, clarity, structure and planning, commitment, and accountability. Let's dive right in. Honesty, being honest with yourself. So what do I mean by that? Well, as simple as it sounds, I say simple. Being honest. What really is getting in your way? So the time excuse I say excuse, it is very real, but the time, let's say the time challenge, that is one that I hear the most. And it can be very real and valid. You might literally be very maxed out with your time. And I'm going to gently say that I have found that it can be an excuse for myself as well. We say that we don't have the time. Oh, I'm just so busy. I don't have the time to take care of myself. And so part of this is simply taking a really hard and honest look at yourself, creating genuine self-awareness. Because sometimes we get stuck in our own way. Maybe that's you, maybe it's not. But being honest overall, right? Of course, this is just simply one example. It might also be being honest of why you're not sticking with it. We as humans, we don't like to have perceived failures. And so it can be hard to own up to why we aren't doing something, especially when we know it's important to us, for us, and something we want to do. And so being honest about what's getting in our way, whatever it is, that's going to help us get really clear so that we can then we can create and maintain a routine that actually supports us. The honesty might also be, yeah, you know what? I really don't have time. Whatever your lifestyle is, if you're a parent, you really do have time constraints. And so then it's being honest that, wow, I'm taking care of everybody else but myself. Is there a way that I can take a little bit off of my plate? Is there someone that can help me? Can I ask for help? Being honest. Be honest. Next is clarity. Being clear and specific. This is also your why. It embodies all of it. So being clear and specific. By this, I mean, sometimes we'll say, I need more me time. Right? I don't have much time to myself. Well, okay. Well, what does me time look like, though? What is that? Time for yourself. How are you spending that time? What do you need in that time? Is me time socializing with a friend? Is me time taking a bath or something, like getting your nails done? Is me time just vegging out, watching TV or reading a book? It's going to be different for everyone, but get clear and specific for you. What is me time? Or what is your self-care routine? What does it mean to you? And what do you want? Rather than the vague self-care routine. Okay, so you know you want to take care of yourself. You know that it's important, but why? And what does it look like in action? Does that mean you're going to be more conscious about the food that you're eating? Does it mean you're going to meal plan? Does it mean you're going to exercise a certain number of days of the week, or meditate a certain number of days a week, get a certain number of hours of sleep? I don't know. You do, though. You might not in this moment, but as you go on to create a self-care routine, get clear and specific about what it even means, what it is that you need, and then the heart of it. Why? Why is it important? Why do you need it? Even if it's something as simple as social interaction. Why? Well, because I feel better when I'm with my loved ones. I like to laugh. I like to feel loved and appreciated. I really value my friends and my family. Okay, great. That's your why. Or why is it important to you to eat nutritious food? Well, I've gained weight and I'm just not feeling great in my body. I don't like how I move. I feel different. My body doesn't move as optimally as I'd like. Okay, I see. So you want to feel better in your body, and so you're going to do that by eating nutritious food. Great. Give these examples of the why because it's so important to help us be motivated and inspired to keep going. Because if we're not connected with that why, the heart and the soul of it, we probably aren't going to maintain it because it's not important to us, or we aren't at least connected to that why. That's honestly why most of New Year's resolutions and goals and things don't tend to work. Calling it like I see it. And so taking your time to be really clear on what it is you're trying to create and why it's important to you. And the next piece of that, so once you have your clarity on the what and the why, maybe the who, is planning and structure. This is especially important in the beginning. So when you're starting something new, it's not a routine. It's new. So you're creating this new habit, this new thing. Think about something that you just do all the time. You've done most of your life, or you've done it for a long period of time. Those things that you don't have to think about really consciously doing. An example could be waking up and brushing your teeth. When you brush your teeth, you likely don't have to consciously think of like, okay, what do I need? Oh yes, I need a toothbrush. What else? Yes, my toothpaste. Where does the paste go? Yeah, okay, it goes on the bristles, and then put it here, right? You know how to brush your teeth. You probably don't have to schedule brushing your teeth either. You just do it. Whereas creating a new self-care routine, it's not going to feel like that. It's foreign. It's new. And so creating a plan and some structure around it is going to be of the utmost importance, in my opinion, to creating and maintaining it. I've seen it time and time again in the people that I work with. Creating the structure and making a plan is the most helpful part and the key element to the follow through, to making it happen, rather than, right, we're talking about this here now. We're talking about creating a self-care routine, and it very well could just could stay right here. What you've heard me say, what you've seen on your screen, and what you've written on your own piece of paper. That might be where it stays. Creating a plan, structure, that's essentially like the 3 days a week I'm going to exercise or meditate. That's kind of the structure piece. Doing that is going to help you see it through, because you're going to know when to do it. If you don't schedule it, if you don't plan it, if you don't put parameters around, like, well, I want to meditate, I want to start a meditation practice, it's so vague. So how are you going to know when to show up and when to do it? It would be like being hired for a job and them not telling you when to come and how many hours you're going to work or how much you're going to be paid. What? Well, you have no idea when to be there, what you're doing, and what your paycheck will be. That's confusing. It would be very hard to show up for that. And your motivation for that would be very hard because you're like, well, I don't even know what's expected of me. And I don't know when I'm going to get paid. So get clear. I want to meditate 3 days a week. I want to have a social date with a friend every other week, or maybe it's weekly. I'm making things up just as an examples. You find what works for you, but creating some structure and making a plan. That means putting it in your calendar, putting it as a reminder in your phone or computer so that you get a notification. It pops up and you are like, oh, yes, that's right. Today's the day I do yoga. Great. I'm going to get ready and do that in 30 minutes. I will say for me, I tend to plan, to brainstorm and dream on paper And then I put it into I use Google Calendar, but there's so many digital calendars out there. Because if it's not on my virtual calendar, if it's not on my phone, my computer, I'm likely going to forget, or I might forget, or I might not as hold it as important as the things on my digital calendar. And so for me, that's a tool to help call me forward, to help me stay with it. Find what works for you. It very likely will be trial and error, especially as this is brand new. Okay. Along with that is commitment and accountability. So commitment is your dedication. It's really the follow through, staying with it. It's the maintenance piece, right? Rather than just self-care, taking care of yourself, something that happens every now and again. It's the commitment. It's an ongoing choice and ongoing dedication. To help you stay committed, accountability is probably going to be really important. It's going to be helpful to help you stay committed. So accountability can come either from within. You could keep yourself accountable, or you could seek accountability from someone else. Typically, external accountability, again, especially in the beginning, is going to be helpful. Some people can help themselves stay accountable, and others, it's going to be more helpful and poignant if you have someone checking in with you, or that person knows you're going to check in with them. And if they don't hear from you, they check in. Hey, did you go for your walk? Oh, yes, I did. I just forgot to check in with you. Or maybe it's, no, I didn't. You're right. I'm going to do that later. Ways that you can keep yourself accountable are, like I said, the calendar or a timer on your phone. Those are things that you can get a literal reminder for. So timer's going to go off literally at the time, or maybe it's you set it for 15 minutes before you want to do whatever it is you're committing to. Calendars, I have mine set up so I get a 30-minute in advance notification before anything. So like before I teach a class or before I meet with a person, and my own things like 30 minutes before my lunch break, 30 minutes before I take my own yoga class, so that it helps me wrap up what I'm doing. I found for me that's really helpful. You could also, if you think back to like grade school, elementary school, do you remember the charts where you would get a little star or someone would do a little mark? You could do something along those lines. You could print out a calendar or find a calendar and just strictly keep it for marking your daily habit or commitment or whatever it looks like. You could also, and marking that with stars or a little X or a check mark, whatever. You could also do that in your existing calendar. You could put a sticker on that when you honor that commitment, or do a little check mark. Maybe you use a specific color. Those are ways that you can find accountability within, keep yourself accountable. If you're like, yeah, I probably won't do that, or I might not really be honest. External accountability. So that means, or could mean, asking a friend or loved one, a partner. Maybe it's a professional, a peer support specialist like we have at Promise Resource Network, a wellness coach like me, or someone else, a personal trainer, I don't know, help me out. Give me some examples. A nutritionist, right? You could hire or seek free support. That person, you can communicate your goals, what you're working on, and they can help you stay accountable, stick with it. They could also, more than likely, depending on who they are, help you create the plan in the first place and then help you maintain it. All right. To wrap up, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I say that not to, as in thank you for me being here, but thank you for you. This class was all about you, about creating a plan that reflects you taking good care of yourself so that you can continue to do all the things that you love, all the things that you need, and to be able to show up for people in your life as well. So I applaud you for dedicating time for yourself in service of yourself. And I'd love to hear your key takeaway. What did you learn from this? Whether it's the pork and beans of what I shared, right? Like the logistics of what I shared. Did you learn something from that? Or maybe it's something you learned about yourself, like, oh, I learned that I'm a person that really needs external accountability to stay with something. What did you specifically learn? Share it in the comments. I can't wait to see. If you need more support, you can reach out to me directly. You can find my information on my website. It's here on your screen, jeansapothecary.com. And if you'd like free meditations, you can visit my SoundCloud. It's soundcloud.com/Casey Jean Wellness. And I'm Casey Jean. And again, I thank you for being here. I'll also put my email address in the comment section of this video. Can't wait to hear from you, what you took away from this, and what your next steps are. How about that? Share your key takeaway and what your next steps are. Take care, be well, and I will see you next time.